Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. I had thought at least a couple of days would pass before we found ourselves back here again talking about Secret Doctrine, but it appears that events moved faster than I'd expected. For those of you that are not aware of what I'm talking about, please go watch my previous video. You'll find a link to that both in the description below or in the end tags of this video. To boil it all down to its essence, we had the developer of the game Secret Doctrine, one Gennady Guryanov, who was banned from the Steam Storefront by Valve for posting fake reviews on his games back in April of this year. He apparently partnered up with Elena Schukina and circumvented the ban Valve placed on him and managed to get Secret Doctrine up onto the Steam Storefront. From there, Elena Schukina's actions ran rampant when Steam users balked at the $50 price tag. Banning any user who dared speak up, Elena Schukina claimed these users were inciting ethnic hatred and threatened lawsuits against at least 2 different Steam users. Well, since then, this issue has been signal boosted and multiple flags have been dropped on the game and on the developers to the point where Valve took notice. A few hours ago, I received notification that the game had been pulled from the Steam storefront, and in spite of the fact that Valve is being somewhat more quiet about this removal than others, it would seem that these developers did learn a hard lesson in precisely what not to do in relation to Valve's customers. And the sad part is, this could have been a very different story had the developers not threatened users with legal action and act like the absolute worst that the indie game market has to offer. These particular developers were exceptionally aggressive for a vastly overpriced game and were more interested in attempting to shut people up and threaten them into silence than they were in producing a decent product. I had emailed Gennady Guryanov using the email address they had listed on their website for the game, asking for a statement in regard to what the stated publisher of the game was doing, and surprisingly enough, I actually did receive a response. Although, given the tone of Elena Schukina's actions already, I'm sure no one will be surprised by the contents of that response. Mr. Guryanov had this to say: "Hey, I don't know who you are, maybe you swindler. You are insulting the Steam store, suspect a store of incompetence. I'm not owner of a game, I'm worker. Elena Schukina owner, write to her. I'm surprised that you do not understand this. Develop your chicken brain, ciao, and never write me again." So again, we were met with nothing more than insults and a sort of smug hostility. I do wish I could publicly take offense to this, because I could personally think of a veritable litany of things I would like to say in response to this email, but I will leave well enough alone. It is far more important that Steam users are protected from this sort of nonsense than anything else, and to that end, we were successful. However, there was one topic that has been brought up multiple times in the comments, and it seems to be something that a great many people are not taking into consideration. While I agree that the $50 for Secret Doctrine was vastly overpriced from the content being shown, I cannot agree with the surprise that I'm seeing in regards to the difference in game prices between Russia and the US. Simple fact of the matter is that Valve sets those price differences based on region, and that is to ensure price viability for those living in those countries. According to reports from 2016, your average Russian wage per month is 5,965 rubles, which equates to about $88 per month. And it is this distinct income disparity between countries that forces these price differences to begin with. I see nothing wrong with a game being vastly cheaper in Russia, because if there were a cost parity, then only the wealthy in Russia would ever be able to afford anything. Also, I would ask all of my viewers to please bear in mind that while we have seen a rash of asset flippers and actions that can only be painted as the lowest common denominator coming from game developers and others out of Russia, they are still very much in the minority of all Steam users and developers coming out of that country. So while I know it is extremely easy to do so, I would ask that people not automatically assume the worst when encountering a developer or another Steam user from Russia. That said, I would like to thank all of you who banded together to help fight against the actions of these developers. It may seem a small thing in the grand scheme of things, but apathy is the glove into which evil slips its hand, as the saying goes. Such actions, if not combated, can and will become commonplace in the games industry, and what with asset flippers, the AAA industry pushing games as a service, and microtransactions down our throats, along with any number of other things, it can become very easy to grow jaded and simply give up. But this proves that the ability to right wrongs and fight against an injustice can turn out with a positive resolution. That together, even in smaller numbers, change can be had, even if it is a little at a time. Thank you all again for continuing to be as incredible as you all are, and also for watching this video. Please do leave a like and share, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe before you go to stay up to date on gaming news that affects consumers very much as this situation did. If you wish to support me even further, there are links to my Steam Curator page, Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, and a slew of other sites as well down in the description down below. Please do follow me on those. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.